Sanju Verma, to begin with you, following the reopening of the Shiv Hanuman temple in Sambhal district now, which is after 46 years, what we've seen is a string of excavations across the state of Uttar Pradesh. All of that, Sanju Verma, in the light, number one, where the top court of the country said, halt, put a full stop on any surveys to be ordered by lower courts until and unless the Supreme Court hears the Places of Worship Act. So that's the legal purview of it. The ideological sense was clearly given by none other than Mohan Bhagwatji, who came out and made it very clear, where he said that, listen, do not look for mandirs under every masjid. It will not lead to communal harmony. Despite of all of that, why do you think that, especially in Uttar Pradesh, the excavation drives continue?
You know, Preeti, first and foremost, let's get this very, very clear. There is a famous saying, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed and destined to repeat it. And, you know, a thing that catches my attention is the fact that, you know, each time I speak of this population jihad, demographic shift, log kehte hain, "Arey, aap ye Nehru ke zamane mein chale gaye, 19th century mein chale gaye." But I'll give you some interesting data, which I found when I was doing homework. Sambhal was earlier called Bhimnagar. And, you know, about 30, 40 years back, Hindus formed 45% of the population of Sambhal and Muslims were at 55%. Fir dange hue in 1978, and at that time, the current MP, you know, his grandfather, Shafiqur Rahman Burke, was an emerging Samajwadi Party leader. And you will be surprised to know 1978 के संभल के दंगों में 184 people, 184 लोगों को जिंदा जला दिया गया. But nobody in the media has ever spoken about it for decades together. आज तक संभल में 209 से ज्यादा हिंदुओं को जलाकर मार दिया गया या forcibly convert कर दिया गया. There is not a single narrative in the media because हिंदू खतरे में है. ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता. Musalman, they are by and large the perpetrators. I'm not talking of everybody, I'm talking of radical Islamists. And उसके बाद victim card भी खेलते हैं कि भाई मुसलमान खतरे में हैं. I will tell you, the 4 worst riots in Uttar Pradesh, 1972 Aligarh, 1972 Bahraich, 1978 Sambhal, and 1973 Azamgarh. ये सब दंगे तब हुए थे when BJP was not in power. And my last point is this.
Okay.
Do you know, between 2012 and 2017, it was Akhilesh Yadav who was in power. 815 सांप्रदायिक दंगे, 815 communal incidents, जिसमें से 121 लोगों की मौत हुई. Between 2007 and 11, 616 दंगे, जिसमें 152 लोगों की मौत हुई. So I don't think the Akhilesh Yadav dispensation or Mayawati or the Congress have any locus standi to lecture the BJP. And I want to ask you, Preeti, my last 10 seconds. My last 10 seconds. We are also aware that the JPC is looking into the amendment of the Waqf board. You are aware that in 1921, there were 3,000 Waqf properties. Today, there are 8.7 lakh Waqf properties worth more than 1.2 lakh crore, measuring 9.4 lakh acres. किसी ने वक्फ बोर्ड से एक सवाल किया है ना? Why? Why is this pseudo secularism? You don't want to question the Waqf board. You want the amendment to go to a JPC, but you want the BJP and Yogi Adityanath. उनके सर पर आप बंदूक रख के रोज सवाल पूछना चाहते हैं. क्यों भाई? हिंदू second class citizens हैं क्या?
Okay, all right. I want to bring in. Okay, Sanju Verma, I want to bring in Ghanshyam Tiwari, but 2 things, Sanju Verma, because you did speak of, quote unquote, population jihad. I would reckon you're talking about the Muslim population here, and it's always nice to put data, and I'm just going to put it out there, which is that the fertility rate of the Muslim community is falling way sharper than the Hindu community, and that is data. You're a woman of data, just putting that bit out there. But I want to now cut across and go to Ghanshyam Tiwari, who's also with us. Ghanshyam Tiwari, this is politics, and ultimately we've seen it pay off. And why I say that is that you have a Yogi Adityanath who clearly is hardening the Hindutva line, and we can see it from Batenge to the Katenge narrative and so on and so forth. He's gone ahead and made statements which only harden the line that he has always stood for. And it seemingly has paid off politically. Ghanshyam Tiwari, look at the by-election poll results.
Good evening, Preeti, to you, my fellow co-panelists and the viewers. 3 things stand. One is the standard conman tactic. that show a tamasha that will distract people and then rob them, steal them, and pickpocket them. Why do I say call the conman tactic? What are people being robbed of? They are being robbed of good debates in parliament. They are being robbed of discussions on job losses. They are being robbed on discussions on price rise. They are being robbed on the massive bribery charge and indictment of Adani. They are being robbed on Manipur, and the Batenge Katenge party that collected 13,000 crores in 10 years in chandas in their electoral bond and Chandalo Dhandalo model has found a new formula. Will this formula work? We don't know, but the facts reveal the story of this formula. For example, Times of India carried an article. This is November 13, 2008. 80 temples demolished in Modi's capital. These were not new temples. These all were old temples. Another article says demolition drive in Varanasi reveals ancient temples. Another article says the catastrophic demolition drive in Kyoto, catastrophic Kyotoization.
What uninterrupted time? I'll come back to you.
Catastrophic Kyotoization of.
Ma'am, I'll come back to you. Allow him to say what he's saying. Go ahead, Mr. Tiwari.
Catastrophic Kyotoization of Varanasi caused loss of ancient temples. These are articles from the press. So the Batenge Katenge party is obviously lying to the people, pulling a conman act. My final point is that we as viewers, one final point.
Okay, make your point, sir.
We as viewers have to and citizens have to decide. A lot of fancy malls and apartments and villas are built on farmers' land. By this logic, farmers should come and show the papers and say that give my land back. I was given pennies when this land was taken away. A lot of lakes across the cities are encroached by builders. By this logic, those lakes are also important. A lot of mining companies, including Mr. Modi's favorite company, who he will not stop short at defending, and his spokesperson are using looting forests for their mines. By this logic, the tribal should say that this forest belongs to us. This logic does not hold the test of common sense.
I'll come back to you because, you might seem to suggest that time will tell whether it's working, but it's working, Ghanshyam Tiwari. You saw it work in Maharashtra. You saw it work in the bypolls in Uttar Pradesh. I want to now, bring in Shantanu Gupta, political analyst who studied Yogi Adityanath very well. And Shantanu Gupta, we've seen a legal perspective coming in from the top court, which has clearly said that no lower court can pass any orders on any kind of surveys anymore. We've also seen what is the ideological fountainhead for the Bharatiya Janata Party. The RSS chief come out and said, stop looking for mandirs under every masjid. It will not serve any purpose. Despite that, in Uttar Pradesh, we've seen Yogi Adityanath harden his stand where it comes down to Hindutva. Does it serve Yogi Adityanath to keep the communal pot boiling?
See, Preeti, let me quote the Supreme Court and Mohan Bhagwat correctly. Mohan Bhagwat ji said no new cases should be researched in the journey to make a new netas, right? So who is doing it? Yogi Adityanath. Yogi Adityanath is not a new neta. He's in town from last 26 years, right? Another lawyer, Vishnu Jain, he's a stalwart legal lawyer. So I think these cases are not connected to what Mohan Bhagwat ji said. Top court said that no temple should be found inside a mosque. Okay, I'm sure new cases will go, and every case will go by its own merit. And in this case, what the temple is found, some wells are found today. Bajrangbali temple found a couple of days back. They are not under any mosque. They were just hidden in some Muslim areas, right? So the Supreme Court ruling doesn't apply here. And let's be very clear, these temples were broken. I'm saying if people have not studied, they should go back. Let me give them some references. Hindu temples, what happened to them, a detailed history. Islamic evidence, Sitaram Goel, 2 volume, right? Someone should go through. So let's not make it over, this never happened, right? Okay, if they don't believe Sitaram Goel, read Babarnama, read Ain Akbari. They only mention, read Aurangzeb's fatwas. He's saying which temple should be broken in which way, which brick should be kept in which. So these things are happened, right? They're going to court, and if court is giving a verdict, court is giving a verdict, right? And while this is happening, UP has opened 16th airport in Moradabad. Jewar airport has a touchdown 2 weeks back. UP is now the top 5 economies, and investment is coming in UP, right? So let's not make it. UP is growing in unprecedented rate under Yogi Adityanath in the last 7 years.
Nobody's trying to make that, Shantanu Gupta.
At the same time.
No, there's no contention of that. I think what you've got me wrong is there is no contention of that that there is no development happening. So nobody's contending that, Shantanu Gupta. Yes, what is happening right now across Uttar Pradesh is not violating the law in terms of what the Supreme Court has said, putting a stay.
You were sounding like that. You were clearly sounding like that.
But
So
no,
let me
I'm not.
try
I'm
to
not.
review.
I don't know what I said made it sound like that, because not once did I say it. Or even tried to. I don't even know what you're
Then
trying
you
to
need
say.
not even mention Mohan Bhagwat in court in this case when you didn't want to mean it.
Sorry?
Then you did not even need to mention Mohan Bhagwatji's court and the Supreme Court's mention,
But
because
why
what
wouldn't I? No,
happened today?
One second.
What
No,
happened today and 2 days
No,
back? was
I don't think.
nothing
I'll tell
under
you
the
what.
purview of
Okay.
these two statements.
No. Shantanu Gupta, the reason I mentioned it is because, yes, the top court of the country, somewhere down the line, has made it very clear, no more surveys by lower courts. So what's happening is not violating the law at all.
Exactly.
But I would reckon a lot of us who are watching this news will accept that it is violating the spirit of the law. Similarly, ideologically, what
Not
Mohan
at all.
Bhagwatji has said, it's violating what he has said ideologically.
Not at all.
Okay, maybe that's the difference of opinion, but that's
No,
the
it's
beauty.
different understanding.
That's the
Maybe you're
beauty
not
of democracy,
understanding
that we're all
English
allowed
of
to
the
have
court and
difference of
Hindi of Mohan
opinions.
Bhagwat.
And that's why we are debating what we are debating today. But Ashutosh, let me ask the question, which I asked Shantanu Gupta, because it does, in Uttar Pradesh right now, if you look at the by-poll results, if you look at the hardening of stand of Yogi Adityanath, if you see the popularity of Yogi Adityanath, it serves the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister to keep the communal pot boiling, whether it is these excavations, whether it's Sambhal today, it's Varanasi today, it's Muzaffarnagar, it's Aligarh, or even Bulandshahr.
Preeti, the two things. One, keep the communal pot boiling. If it gives you electoral dividend. Did it work in parliament election? It did not work. BJP started with the claim that BJP will get all the 80 seats, and they were reduced to 33 seats. And all kinds of communal statements were given, including from the Prime Minister to the Yogi Adityanath. And Yogi Adityanath and Narendra Modi both could not save, despite Ayodhya being there, despite Kashi Vishwanath being there, and despite Mathura being there. So there's no guarantee that they keep the pot boiling and then they will get the votes. Second point is, I think the bigger question is, I think the RSS is imploding. And I'm saying it with all seriousness. Mohan Bhagwat is saying something on which their cadre is not willing to accept. This is an organization which works on ek chalak anuvartit. But once the leader has said, everybody has to follow. And look what happened in Palakkad. In Palakkad, the Hosbole was saying something else. Hosbole was towing Yogi Adityanath's line. And Mr. Mohan Bhagwat's line is entirely different. Mohan Bhagwat clearly says कि बिना मुसलमान के हिंदुत्व अधूरा है. सबका DNA एक है. हर मंदिर के हर मस्जिद में शिवलिंग क्यों खोजना, और बदले और वैमनस्य की भावना से आप इस तरीके की बातों को क्यों उठा रहे हैं. राम मंदिर का मसला अलग था. अब ये तो आरएसएस को तय करना है, बीजेपी को तय करना है. बीजेपी पहले कह चुकी है. बीजेपी ऑलरेडी सेड हम तो सक्षम है, अब हमको आरएसएस की जरूरत नहीं है. So the issue is this a fight within the RSS, or is it an inter-organizational fight between the BJP and the RSS? Or Yogi Adityanath has become too independent and he doesn't listen to the Mohan Bhagwat. So Mohan Bhagwat has to ensure, and Mohan Bhagwat has to think whether his diktat still prevail in the organization, or he has become total a loner in the organization.